Margie, Dottie, and I, during World War II, all the boys were away, so after work we would meet in town and we'd go bowling. But then a ship pulled into port, I guess at the Navy Yard, the USS Monterey aircraft carrier ship.
Hmm.
And we were bowling, and two sailors came along, and they said, "Do you mind if we bowl with you at the bowling alley?" So we said, "Okay." So the one sailor liked Dottie, but Margie liked that sailor.
Hmm.
And then George, like me, George was 6'4",
Wow.
about 18 years old. I think I was a couple of years older than he. I was 20, I think, not sure. And so we went bowling. And of course Dottie was waiting for Frankie to come home. That was her love, so she wouldn't go out. So I think Margie went out with this other guy, but it didn't turn out because he was really interested in Dottie. So George and I dated. And I can remember bringing him home, and of course Mom loved him. And don't forget, he was Syrian.
Mhm.
Syrian and Jews.
Mhm.
So we,
What does he look like?
huh?
What does he look like?
Oh, he was a nice looking guy. He had black hair, and I have a picture of him someplace. And well-built young man, and real clean. Didn't smoke or drink or anything. And one day we were coming home, and Grandpa was sitting on the porch. Now, he never had much to say or do with me, and Friday night with his bottle of whiskey, and that was the end of Grandpa. Well, he was sitting on the porch, and I figured, oh my God, how am I going to introduce him? So I said, "Pop, this is George Dayu. He's on an aircraft carrier ship." And I was shocked. He got up and he shook hands with him. I was completely shocked. So then we went in. And then, of course, the ship pulled out. So we wrote. But I didn't think any more of it, just to write it. And then somebody wrote and told him that Grandpa had died. So he wrote to me and he says, "I'm awful sorry, your dad died."
Hmm.
So we kept corresponding, and I guess being away, you figure you care for each other. And I can remember it was Easter, and I wanted to send him a big Easter egg, and the song "Till Then" was out. "Till then, please wait for me until I come home."
Hmm.
The Mills Brothers. So on the Easter egg, I wrote "Till Then,"
Hmm.
and sent it to him. And then at Easter, I was in work, and I called home, and they said I had a bouquet of flowers. Of course, and it was from George. So then when he came home, instead of going right home, he came to see us. And Pop had died, so we had a little room there, and it was all cleaned up because when he had it, it was a mess. And so, we said George could sleep in there, and then I slept next door. But of course, as it happened, George climbed in bed with me, but we didn't have sex because he was a virgin and I was a virgin, and we were scared to death. So we just hugged and kissed, and yeah, everybody thought that we had had sex, but we hadn't. So then it was time. So then we went out, and we went to a jeweler on Lancaster Avenue, and he only had $100 with him, and we just put a little engagement ring, a little teeny. It was just a little one, but it didn't matter to me. It was puppy love. So we went to Mary's and Si's, and we had a bottle of wine. We had a little drink, and then he said, then he went on. He got on the phone. He says, "Mom, Z and I are engaged." They hung up. They hung up on him. So then he called me and he said, "They want you to come out." And of course, Mary said, "You can't go out there. You don't know anybody. They're Syrians." So I said, I'm going. And I
Mhm.
did. I got on the train and I went to Pittsburgh. And he met me. And I met his family.
Mm-hmm.
And they were living with another family, something about where they lived before the home flooded or something. So anyhow, I met his cousin. I forget her name was Olive. And she was real nice. And she got me aside and she says, they're never going to let you two get married. Don't you know how Syrians are? If he has to marry me just to keep it in the Syrian, they'll make him marry me before you can get married. That's what she told me. So anyhow, I went to bed and I could hear them talking down there, and George came up and he says, good night. He says, I'm sorry, I don't think I could ever have you, you know. And I didn't think anything of it. And so the next day, they kept him away from me the next day, and it was time for me to leave. And so I left, and I was going home on the train. I think he wrote to me. That's what he did. He wrote to me. He says, they want me to go to college, and they said they don't want me to get married. He says, so if you want to keep the ring, go ahead. I don't care what you do. He says, but he says, I'm sorry, we just can't, get together. Of course, then I was hurt, but now I understand. No way could a Jew marry a Syrian. No way. Not in those years, But she was right. Olive says if he has to marry me before they let him marry anybody that's not a Syrian. And of course, what also happened, he had a brother named Eddie. And Eddie got killed in the war, so all they had was George, And of course, we were going to get married. My first kid was going to be named Joseph. That was all planned. But it was a nice puppy love. I mean, when I think back now, it was enjoyable and it was clean. I was hurt at the time, but I got over it. And then I started to date this one and this. And then another one wanted to take me home to meet his father, who was a minister. I figured, oh no. No way was I going to get Willie. He was adorable, but no way